November 25th, 2020X. Today, City 17 is destroyed. I'm the Loch Ness Mobster, and welcome back to the Battle of City 17. Yesterday, Freeman arrived back in the city after the slow teleport, and helped the uprising reach the Citadel, and killed Dr. Breen as he tried to escape to the Combine overworld. But before the explosion of the portal could kill him, he was placed into stasis by the G-Man. Now, the G-Man froze time during this, so about 0 seconds afterward, the Vortigaunts, using their Vortessence powers, broke Freeman out of the G-Man's control to allow him to keep helping the Resistance, and also saved Alex Vance from the explosion too. Gordon is left unconscious under the rubble at the base of the Citadel overnight, while the Vortigaunts kind of stay in the G-Man's weird meta world to keep him at bay. Overnight, a lot happened that we don't see in-game, but is kind of implied. Eli Vance and Judith Mossman somehow get out of the Citadel before the top levels are destroyed by the explosion. This was likely done using a train or a hijacked gunship, perhaps. Either way, they make their way to meet Dr. Kleiner and Dr. Magnuson at the White Forest Resistance base in the Outlands. Judith's meeting with them is very short-lived, however, as she almost immediately boards a helicopter for the Arctic. Why? Well, that's a good question. It is later revealed that Judith was looking for the Borealis, the lost Aperture Science ship carrying Aperture Science's multiverse device that, during tests back during the 70s, accidentally teleported the ship to the Arctic and was caught in a sort of harmonic reflux that between Aperture Science, the 7-Hour War, and the present-day Arctic. But how did Judith find out about all this in the first place? It's quite possible that perhaps Breen and the Combine had found it sometime while she was with them over the past week, and after returning to the Resistance, went to somehow get it before the Combine could get it. The rest of the Resistance leadership don't have any knowledge of this. Now, if the Combine were the ones who found it, then how? They probably found it within the last week while Judith was there, but how did they find it? This thing has been lost for decades. Alright, so time for another theory. What if Portal 2 just happened, and when Chell was down in the older abandoned parts of the Aperture Science Enrichment Center, by turning on the old generators down there, maybe she unknowingly activated some sort of tracking device? It's not far out to suggest that the damage done to Aperture was done in 10 years. After all, in my Valve Universe Theory timeline, I briefly explained the process of how ecological succession, the process in which the natural world breaks down and grows onto non-living matter, could potentially complete to the state we see in Portal 2 in 10 to 20 years. Plus, recall that Chell was a little girl at Bring Your Daughter to Work Day, but was put in extended relaxation, but woke up as a fully grown woman. That means that people still age in extended relaxation. So she'd be dead if it were the centuries or millennia that people usually assume the extended relaxation in Portal 2 was. She looks pretty young in Portal 2, so 10 years could be a pretty reasonable time frame. That would make her 30. That's still pretty young. So maybe we ought to give this the benefit of the doubt and really quickly briefly cover the events of Portal 2, since they also probably took place within the last week. So let's time warp back to yesterday and cover Portal 2. So Chell was released from stasis with the Aperture Science personality core that was originally used as an intelligence dampening sphere for the genetic life form in Disk Operating System, aka GLaDOS, before her destruction at the end of Portal. And this guy is known as Wheatley. They attempt to escape before the unkept nuclear reactors powering Aperture melt down and explode. However, in their attempt, they accidentally reactivate GLaDOS. They try to defeat her, and succeed in placing Wheatley in the central AI chamber, replacing GLaDOS as the controlling AI of the facility, but the system corrupts him, he betrays Chell, and drops them down into the old Aperture facilities in the 1940s through 80s. She and GLaDOS, who's been placed into a potato battery, team up to defeat Wheatley, as he doesn't know how to run the facility and is nearly going to cause Aperture's nuclear reactors to melt down and destroy the facility. During all this, GLaDOS realizes her past as former CEO Cave Johnson's assistant, forced to be uploaded, and after defeating Wheatley and banishing him to the moon, she allows Chell to escape to the surface. Afterwards, she activates the Cooperative Testing Initiative to continue testing on robotic test subjects, but when they prove to be inferior to human test subjects, she sends them on a mission to uncover surviving test subjects placed in extended relaxation sometime back in Aperture's early days. Again, sometime during all this, either Chell or the robots, while down in the older facilities, accidentally activated a tracking device, alerting the location of the Lost Borealis to Judith Mossman during the height of the Battle of City-17. She leaves to uncover it, leaving a message for the Resistance, but she is soon found and apprehended by the Combine, who then take control and work to recover the Borealis from its harmonic state. Why are they interested in it? Well, a major complication for the Combine has occurred due to the Citadel's Dark Fusion Reactor's explosion. First and least important is that the explosion destroyed the Combine's suppression field, which was used to stop the human population from reproducing. This is no longer the case, allowing humanity to begin breeding back their numbers. But the second and more important repercussion is that the explosion destroyed the rift between Earth and the Combine overworld, and therefore crippled the Combine's ability to communicate or travel between the universes. This has left all Combine forces occupying Earth completely stranded. With the Borealis in their hands, they think they can use the onboard bootstrap device to re-establish their connection to the overworld. However, this is actually the backup plan, secondary to their main plan for recontact. The Citadel's core is a very incredibly powerful nuclear fusion reactor. The power unleashed from blowing it up could be so large that, like a resonance cascade, could potentially open up yet another rift to the Combine overworld, allowing them to send a distress signal and get reinforcements necessary to destroy the Resistance once and for all. And so, they begin preparations to destroy the Citadel, and to move all their forces outside the city, including 16 Combine advisors that lead them, one of which is quite possibly the host body carrying the consciousness of the now dead Wallace Breen. This plan isn't taken quite kindly by the Civil Protection Wing, as destroying the Citadel, and thus the whole city with it, would conflict with their terms of recruitment, as they were offered better living conditions in exchange for their services. So as a result, the entire Civil Protection Wing mutinies and quickly jump to take control of the train stations at the edge of the city. Gordon and Alex finally wake up this morning and find that due to the Citadel's critical state, they would have to go inside the Citadel to stop or slow the reaction in order to have a chance for escape. While inside, Alex finds the transmission that Judith was attempting to send to the Resistance from the Borealis. Now, later, Dr. Kleiner says that this was intentionally hidden in the carrier wave, whatever that means. But it doesn't quite make sense, because if it were meant for the Resistance, then why give it to the Combine? Since there's no way she knew that Alex and Gordon would be in the Citadel to extract that. So alternatively, perhaps the message was recovered by the Combine and sent back to the Citadel. It is seen to be encoded within the transmission to be sent out as the distress signal to the Combine overworld. So perhaps all the data on the Borealis that is also in this transmission is meant to alert the Combine to what their backup plan is in case this one fails. This could also explain how Gordon and Alex were able to pilot the ship in Epistle 3 to the Combine invasion nexus, as it's possible the rest of the Combine used the information they sent to try pulling the Borealis into their universe too, in its harmonic reflux state. Again, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself though. So Gordon successfully fixes the reactor, and they escape by train with the Combine contact code. The train unfortunately crashes halfway through the city, forcing Gordon and Alex to escape by foot to another station, The Combine chased them the whole way, seeking the critical information they stole. Alex and Gordon eventually meet up with Commander Barney Calhoun, as he has been trapped between the encroaching soldiers trying to hunt down Freeman and the mutinous Civil Protection Corps blocking the Resistance escape. Gordon and Alex create a diversion through a hospital to keep the Combine off Calhoun and company's backs. Calhoun also gives Freeman his very own crowbar, originally from Half-Life Blue Shift. A battle soon erupts at the train station as the Resistance escapes. Alex and Gordon allow Barney to leave without them as the Combine are after them, and they take the next train. The Combine send in a Strider and more soldiers to kill Freeman and Alex, but they are defeated as Gordon and Alex board their train. Meanwhile, the Citadel core becomes ready to collapse, and so advisors are launched in pods out of the city to safety, which is immediately followed by the issuing of the Adversarial Assistance Act, requiring all surviving Combine to immediately rendezvous with advisors at their crash sites. More on that tomorrow. With the advisors and as many Combine forces out of range as possible, the Citadel sends out its distress signal to the overworld. The Citadel is then engulfed in a massive explosion, and then engulfs the whole city, nearly getting to Gordon and Alex's train, but they are lucky to only be knocked unconscious by the explosion. And so the day ends, a presumed lost Aperture Science research vessel discovered in the Arctic, which the Combine keep a tight grip on just in case, while they simultaneously sacrifice their grand tower to re-establish their lost contact. Gordon and Alex make a daring escape with the Resistance, while a girl named Chell is probably frolicking in a cornfield somewhere in Michigan. Truly, the stakes are high, but the final and most decisive battle will be tomorrow. Stay tuned for the Battle of White Forest.